When you think of Roman engineering, what comes to mind? Towering aqueducts! The mighty Colosseum! Maybe those famously straight roads? They're all incredible feats, for sure. But what if I told you that was just scratching the surface? The Romans had a treasure trove of hidden technologies, some so advanced they wouldn't be seen again for over 1,000 years. Today, we read digging deep into the lost workshops and forgotten blueprints of the Roman Empire to uncover the secret tech that powered one of history's greatest civilizations. Forget what you learned in school! This is the story of Roman ingenuity you've never heard. Let's start with something we use every day. Concrete. Roman concrete wasn't just strong, it was practically magical. Structures like the Pantheon's dome, which is still the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world after nearly 2,000 years, are a testament to its durability. So, what was their secret? It was a special mix of volcanic ash called pozzolana lime and seawater. This created a chemical reaction that made the concrete incredibly resilient. In fact, Roman concrete actually gets stronger over time, especially when exposed to seawater. Modern scientists are still studying this ancient recipe, hoping to replicate its self-healing properties to create more sustainable building materials for the future. Imagine, the solution to modern problems might be found in a 2,000-year-old recipe. Beyond their superconcrete, the Romans were masters of a different kind of power. Water power. We all know about the aqueducts that brought water to their cities, but what they did with that water was pure genius. Take the Bar-Beagle Mill in southern France. This wasn't just one water wheel. It was a massive industrial complex. A series of 16 water wheels cascaded down a steep hillside, all powered by a single aqueduct. Each wheel turned a millstone, grinding flour for the nearby city of Arles. Historians estimate this complex could produce enough flour to feed tens of thousands of people. It was an ancient factory, a testament to the Roman ability to scale up production on a level that would be unmatched until the Industrial Revolution. They didn't just move water. They harnessed its energy to power their economy. And speaking of scale, let's talk about mining. How did the Romans extract vast quantities of gold and other precious metals to fund their legions and lavish lifestyles? They used a spectacular and terrifying technique called hushing. At sites like Las Medulas in Spain, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, they would build huge reservoirs on top of mountains. Then they'd tunnel into the mountainside. When the tunnels were ready, they would unleash the water from the reservoirs, sending a devastating flood crashing through the mountain. The sheer force of the water would blast away the rock, revealing the gold seams within. It was hydraulic mining on an epic scale, an early and dramatic form of terraforming that permanently reshaped landscapes. It was destructive, yes, but undeniably effective and a showcase of their advanced understanding of hydraulics and civil engineering. But Roman tech wasn't all about massive structures and brute force. They were also masters of intricate, delicate machinery. Have you ever heard of the Antikythera mechanism? Well, technically Greek, its discovery in a Roman-era shipwreck shows that this kind of complex technology was known and used in their world. This device, an astonishingly complex collection of gears, was essentially an ancient analog computer. It could predict astronomical positions and eclipses for decades in advance. Imagine the level of astronomical knowledge and mechanical skill required to build such a device 2,000 years ago. It completely shatters the notion of ancient people as technologically primitive. It suggests a world where intricate clockwork devices might have been more common than we ever imagined. And what about surgery? We often think of pre-modern medicine as brutal and basic, but Roman surgeons were surprisingly advanced. They developed a wide array of specialized surgical instruments, many of which look uncannily similar to tools used by surgeons today. We're talking scalpels, forceps, surgical scissors, and even bone drills. They performed complex procedures like cataract surgery, amputations, and even rudimentary brain surgery. Evidence from archaeological sites shows they used anesthetics made from plants like opium poppies and they understood the importance of boiling their tools in hot water to sterilize them. While their understanding of germ theory was incomplete, their practical methods saved countless lives on the battlefield and in the cities, giving Roman soldiers a better survival rate after being wounded than soldiers in many later conflicts. Let's also consider their mastery of glass. Roman artisans didn't just make simple cups and bowls. They perfected the art of glassblowing, which allowed for the mass production of glass vessels. But they also created luxury items of incredible beauty, like cameo glass, where layers of different colored glass were carved to create detailed scenes, similar to carving a gemstone. The Portland vase is the most famous example, a masterpiece of craftsmanship that baffles artisans even today. They also made the first window panes. While not perfectly clear like our modern glass, these panes allowed natural light into buildings, fundamentally changing architecture and how people experienced indoor spaces. The luxury of a sunlit room was a Roman innovation. Even their military might was backed by secret tech. We all know about the Roman legions' discipline and tactics. But what about their weapons? Their siege engines, like the ballistae and the onager, were marvels of mechanical engineering. The ballista was essentially a giant crossbow that could fire heavy bolts or stones with incredible accuracy over long distances. They used a complex system of twisted ropes called a torsion spring to store immense power. These weren't just crude catapults. They were precision weapons that could target specific points in an enemy's fortress. The Romans even developed a repeating ballista, the polybolos, which could fire bolts automatically from a magazine, like an ancient machine gun. This was battlefield technology that gave them a decisive edge in siege warfare for centuries. And what about everyday life? The Romans even developed a form of central heating called a hypocaust system. This was a clever system where the floor of a building, particularly in villas and public baths, was raised on pillars. Hot air from a furnace would then be channeled into the space under the floor, heating the room from below. The heat would radiate through the floor tiles, providing a comfortable, even warmth throughout the building. This was a level of luxury and comfort that disappeared from Europe for over 1,000 years after the fall of Rome. Imagine walking on warm floors in the middle of winter, all thanks to a sophisticated system of underfloor heating invented 2 millennia ago. From self-healing concrete and water-powered factories to analog computers and repeating artillery, the technological legacy of the Roman Empire is far richer and more complex than we often give it credit for. These weren't just people who built big things. They were innovators, experimenters, and master engineers whose ingenuity still has the power to astonish us today. They understood principles of mechanics, chemistry, and hydraulics that would be lost, and then painstakingly rediscovered centuries later. So next time you see a picture of the Colosseum, remember that it's just one piece of a much larger, more incredible puzzle, the story of a civilization that didn't just conquer the world, but engineered it. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Rome's hidden tech secrets. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that challenge what you think you know about the past. What Roman technology surprised you the most? Let me know down in the comments. See you in the next one.